And we're on, as always, on a Tuesday night live here on the SLG Network and the YouTube channels and other social media platforms. My channel, Rich Mancuso, Sports with Rich for this Tuesday, January 17th. And welcome in, everyone. Welcome to Rizz, Robert Rizmo, my young co-host, my protege. Almost a year now he's around me. Had enough of him, but he's taken over the world. Hey, Rizz, how was your week? Welcome.
Oh, week was great. NFL packed week. MLB slowed down. NBA's heating up just like that. Sports week packed out the kazoo. You name it, we're going to talk about it. NFL playoffs, it's heating up. We're here.
Yeah, and we're going to have, of course, the fact of the week, bottom of the hour. Let's get it this week. It's going to be a tough one, guys. And, of course, nobody beats the Wiz later on. The Keep It in the Ring segment, a lot of boxing news, a lot of pro wrestling news. We're going to go solo on that, me and you, this week, Wiz, and a whole lot more. We want you to comment in the cube, your questions and comments, and most of all, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, Rich Mancuso, on YouTube, and also like, comment, subscribe on the SLG Network. We're here every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern live. And what else? I have to encourage everyone to go out with our new sponsor, Skull Energy. Skull Energy, you know that Skull has been coming up. Skull Fuel Energy. Get rejuvenated, look for the Skull. Always in your stores. Drink and enjoy. More. SkullFuelEnergy.com is where you reach them right now. And they have a coffee line coming out as well. Proud sponsor of Sports with Rich here on the SLG Network. New sponsor for the entire network platform of shows on the SLG Network. And, of course, questions, comments, and Cuban. Now, social media. Scrolled at the bottom where you could reach me, Rich Mancuso, Twitter. And also it's at Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Quickly, Wiz, as they see it on the bottom, scrolled. And we do hear from people. I do on social media every week, and I thank you. And Wiz, where did I get you?
You can always follow me on Twitter, RobertRizz994, Instagram, RRizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo, and catch all my daily content on Latino sports.
Let's get it going. 2 hours. Maybe a little more tonight, as we always say. Super wild card weekend in the NFL. And if you're an NFL fan, football fan in general, well, you stayed on the couch. I did a lot of the time this weekend, 6 games. Brady's first game, Tom Brady, maybe his last game last night against the Cowboys. See that. The 49ers continue to look strong going in these playoffs with a winning streak. They have quarterback Brock Purdy. They advances. The comebacks with a story, Wiz. Trevor Lawrence in particular, who I've been bragging and talking about for weeks here. The Giants in the divisional round this weekend against the Eagles. Daniel Jones. The Giants are coming up with their third meeting with the Eagles, the number one NFC seed. And let's look at the Giants first. Out of the 6 games, we'll talk Giants first because of quarterback Daniel Jones has evolved into this outstanding quarterback. All those fans were doubting Daniel Jones. Can't say that now, Wiz.
No, they can't say that now. Week by week, he's developed into the quarterback he is today, winning playoff games on the road in Minnesota, beating the Vikings 31-24. Jones completed 24 of 35 passes, 301 passing yards, and along with that, he rushed for 78 rushing yards, altogether 2 TDs on the day. Last 7 games, Jones has 1 interception. That's what you need out of a playoff quarterback right now, and let's see what it makes out of him in Philadelphia next week.
His first career playoff game, the Giants' first playoff win since their Super Bowl 11 years ago. A team right now many believe have momentum and could be a big sleeper as the NFC postseason moves into the divisional round. And what can you say about Saquon Barkley, too, the tie-breaking touchdown on a Sunday, and also Daniel Jones with that 300-plus yards in passing, the touchdown, 70-yard-plus rushing, and his first-year coach, Brian Daboll. That makes a difference. That coaching staff and Brian Daboll doing it, and this Giants team came together, had a good season, and is rolling along now as they go into the divisional round. But they got those Eagles and the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, up next on Saturday.
It just goes to show you how important the coaching is across the NFL. Daniel Jones looked like a bust the last 2 to 3 years in the NFL, and now Brian Dable, playoff quarterback right there, along with Daniel Jones, first playoff win in 11 years, like you said. And he was quoted pregame saying, "Experience is overrated. It's how you prepare." And that makes so much sense now. You look at the Vikings Giants. Vikings star-studded across the roster compared to the Giants. Look who won at the end of the day. Preparation is key across the NFL, especially in the postseason.
Well, Christmas Eve, the Giants almost won that game. Field goal was the difference. They went into Minnesota confident that they could beat this team in advance. The question was again, it was Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones became, once again, the franchise quarterback that I've been saying he would for the Giants. And now let's see what he does against those Eagles.
That's the biggest test right now. This upcoming Saturday, Giants Eagles against Jalen Hurts, a potential MVP. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles outscored the Giants 70-38 this season. I get it, regular season, postseason, completely different ball game. But you gotta look at that and see what it gives you. And just on Saturday kickoff, 8:00. Let's get to it.
Rizz, do you like the Giants' chances this time? They failed twice against the Eagles this season in that 17-game schedule, and that second game they could have won. And I am confident more than ever that Daniel Jones might just beat the Eagles. It might be him and that Giants defense, which was very big. They came up big again against the Vikings.
I could definitely see an upset in Philadelphia. It all comes down to Jalen Hurts versus Daniel Jones. Who's going to come up for their team? Hurts was hurt throughout the last 4 weeks. He played that last game, Week 18, against the Giants. As much as the Giants-Eagles faced off twice this season, that last game, Week 18, most of the Giants starters were out. So I give the Eagles that 1-0 lead, not 2-0, because at the end of the day, it was the bench players against those starters. So let's see what happens on Saturday. But I believe it's an 8.5-point spread, but let's see what happens. There's an upset every weekend in the postseason.
Yeah, and about the Giants, new coaching staff, new coach, and this team bought into his philosophy, and it really is showing the culture and all about it. And when you go show again, when you have good coaching and you have a quarterback that's rising up the ladder, it's going to show. And it finally did with Daniel Jones. I'm looking for a good game against the Eagles, and I don't think it's going to be a catwalk, as they say, for the Eagles down there in enemy territory in Philadelphia. We know how intense that's going to be. I hear tickets are really, really hard to get down there, Wiz.
For sure. Tickets are starting at $250 standing room. Just to get into the stadium for Saturday night, Giants-Eagles, you're paying $250 without fees. So just round that up to $300 just to get in the door. Just imagine these prices nowadays. Week by week, it's just going to increase.
All right, the Giants, I believe, are 7-point underdogs as of now. Am I right?
As of now, 7.5. It could creep down to 7, could creep up to 8, 8.5. We'll see.
What's going to be the key for the Giants to advance and go to the NFC championship round?
Obviously, you mentioned it before, Daniel Jones, but I believe the significant matchup is going to be Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and that interior defense up against Philadelphia's offensive line. Everyone knows about that O-line. Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson has been hurt the last few weeks, but let's see what happens there. But it's definitely going to be that defensive line against Jalen Hurts in Philly.
I'm not going to give a score, but I will say this. It's going to be a close battle. For sure. And it might be decided in the final minutes of that game. I expect a good one, Giants-Eagles divisional round game, NFC. Let's talk about those 49ers, momentum, 11 straight wins. Heck, can do better than that. I've been talking about Brock Purdy all the time. Since taking over for Garofalo, what has he done? He's been phenomenal. Yeah, he's gotten help from Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. McCaffrey, 301 yards and 2 touchdowns in that 41-23 win over Seattle. Brock Purdy, 19 pass plays in the first half, 4 touchdowns, 332 yards. First rookie quarterback playoff game, he came up big. And let's not fault the 49ers for their efforts. We can't fault them. Look at the season they had, and now up against the Cowboys. That's going to be tough. We're going to talk about the Cowboys in a moment. Let's look at Geno Smith too. Even though the Seahawks snuck in, came up short, you got to give Geno Smith all the kudos for the comeback season that he had, quarterbacking the Seahawks under a lot of pressure, taking over for Russell Wilson. And Geno Smith, my comeback player of the year in the NFL. But that story now, though, is the 49ers as they face those Cowboys coming up. We'll get into that in a moment. Your thoughts on the 49ers right now, Wiz?
It's all about Brock Purdy. He's the talk in town right now for the 49ers, and it just shows how important it is, those guys around you, that offensive unit. You mentioned it, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. On Saturday when they were playing against the Seahawks, Purdy wasn't having that best first half. He came out that second half and did what he does best. He works around the pocket, passes it to the guys that are needed. Deebo Samuel, you get him the ball, anything can happen. We've been seeing it in the postseason. Christian McCaffrey, top 10, top 5 running back, and you name it. In the postseason, he's doing what he was traded for. They gave up a lot of picks for Christian McCaffrey. So 49ers, Cowboys next week, that's going to be a big one.
So you talk about the 49ers as that other team in the NFC now with momentum. In the playoffs, you have momentum. You can go to the Super Bowl. That's why I'm not ruling them out. I'm not ruling the Giants out. Those two teams have momentum right now, along with this team, though, out of the AFC. What about the comeback by Trevor Lawrence, the Jaguars? And now they head to the number 1 seed, Kansas City, which makes it tougher. What do you say about Trevor Lawrence comeback against the Chargers? Third largest in playoff history this weekend, down 27-0 in the first half, 27-7 at halftime, 4 interceptions, 4 touchdowns, a 31-30 win. He gets Lawrence with the winning drive, did it again on 4th and 1, and then the field goal wins it. I mean, what can you say about Trevor Lawrence? Another one of those young quarterbacks in the league that is showing what's going to be maybe the future for this Jaguars team that couldn't buy a win the last couple of years. And now they're in the AFC divisional round, but they've got those Kansas City Chiefs, the number 1 seed. But I'm not ruling Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars out of it, Wiz. They're a comeback team. They've shown that all year.
A great comeback team. Hell of a comeback this past week, down 27-0. Started the game, 4 interceptions. Arguably, easily, honestly, Trevor Lawrence's worst quarter in his NFL career and perhaps his collegiate career combined. 4 interceptions. He follows that with 4 touchdowns, 31-30 win over the Chargers. And it came down to this for the Jaguars over the Chargers. They had more total yards, less penalties, and more first downs. So if you're winning those 3 categories, along with Trevor Lawrence playing heroics, with Doug Peterson being the head coach, anything can happen. So another upset potentially with the Jaguars and Chiefs.
Doug Peterson may be coach of the year. I mean, he could be coach of the year as well, what he's done with this team out of the AFC. Evan Ingram, Marvin Jones, Zach Jones, Christian Kirk, and then this guy, Joey Bosa, upset with the officials of the Chargers lost. The officials are getting under our attack in all sports this past few days. And Charlie Boss went, and then he apologized about it yesterday. Joey Boss, I'm sorry. What do you make of that?
I believe it was just a player it was under his skin at the time. The season just ended within an hour and he got interviewed within postgame. We've been in those situations before in front of those players. Their season just ended. These guys are pissed off. They've been working so hard from the beginning of July, from the beginning of June. So I totally get it if a ref made the mistake and you're pissed off at the moment, but it's the NFL and you're going to cost your wallet a payday with that fine. It's coming.
I think that $40,000 fine, he got off easy.
Jeez, 40,000, and that's easy.
Yeah, as I said. Well, the Jaguars, again, a team to watch in the AFC. Do they have the momentum? Do they have another comeback in them if they trail again? And we'll see what they can do against those number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs this weekend in the AFC divisional round. Going to be tough to beat the Chiefs, though. Patrick Mahomes, maybe the MVP of the league again, can throw. But the Chiefs, as I mentioned last week, remember, not very good defensively, especially in special teams.
No, I totally agree. They've been struggling on the defensive part and on special teams. And if Trevor Lawrence ain't throwing the picks like he was in the first quarter, the Chiefs can run away with this game. But if he's throwing those interceptions, it's going to be a blowout. And by blowout, it could be 40, it could be 50. So if Trevor Lawrence is keeping the turnovers down, the fumbles down, then this game's going to be tight going into the fourth quarter.
You look at Buffalo and the Bills, very emotional. We know why. We saw it. And now they host a divisional game this weekend. And Josh Allen and the Bills, they're riding a high right now. What did you make of a 4-hour football game and big comeback by the Bills and a dynamite game with down by 3 with 2:29 left? The Dolphins let this one get away. Josh Allen got the Bills into the divisional round.
Yeah, that was a great game. No one was expecting it to be a great game. It was 13.5-point spread for the Bills, being the favorites over the Dolphins against Skylar Thompson, the third-string quarterback. But Josh Allen does what Josh Allen does, 23 of 39, 352 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. But along with that, he had 2 interceptions. So that's my biggest question mark for next week. He's going up against Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. Anything can happen. But in the last 5 games, 5 interceptions, 6 fumbles. So that's no winning football on the offensive part for Josh Allen.
No.
If he minimizes that, the Bills could have a chance at the Super Bowl this year up against Kansas City, potentially next week.
It's going to be an emotional game up there, too, because these two teams, a couple of weeks ago, what happened? Game was canceled, never played again. Now they get to play it, and they get to play it to move on to the AFC Championship game because the Cincinnati Bengals head there. Very emotional. Will be up there. I'm sure we're going to see all that. The Bengals, they missed an illegal block. Sam Hubbard, though, got this crazy 90-yard fumble return, the tie-breaking touchdown. Joe Burrow, again, 209 yards compiled. Sam Hubbard, let's look at this play, Wiz.
He sealed up the game. It was tied 17-7 at the goal line for the Ravens. 1 yard line for Tyler Huntley, and they decided to do a QB sneak instead of handing it to the running back J.K. Dobbins. Huntley goes for the QB sneak, fumbled. Sam Hubbard picks it up, runs it 98 yards for the Bengals to win 24-17. He runs back to the sideline just for the oxygen. You felt it in the moment. That's a playoff celebration right there. And the kid, 27 years old, born out of Cincinnati, went to Ohio State, drafted by the Bengals. That's a hell of a Cincinnati story altogether.
Proud city of Cincinnati that we know well, and the Bengals move on. Though in that game, maybe the officials on that Hubbard play missed an illegal block. A lot of talk about that. Again, officials came under a lot of scrutiny in the playoffs and in the NBA. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But I didn't sense that. But regardless, the Bengals move on. And that's going to be a game to watch this weekend in the AFC divisional round. As far as Lamar Jackson and his future with the Ravens as they go home, a lot of questions where this guy will end up next year if indeed the Ravens don't renew him.
The relationship has been faltering week by week. Lamar Jackson hasn't played since December 4th. He suffered a knee injury, a PCL grade 2, borderline grade 3. So just like that, you can't play football in that condition. He tweeted on his social media prior to the game that he wasn't playing. And a lot of Baltimore Ravens fans, a lot of football fans were not happy with that, about him tweeting about his public health. But that's the way he is. And he's a 26-year-old. He's a former MVP. Any team willing to sign him will grab him. But right now, the Ravens still have all the contract rights. They can potentially franchise tag him and then trade him during this offseason, get value back. So a lot could play out from here until March, until April. So let's just see week by week.
There is a team in the New York area that could use him. There is a team in the desert in Arizona that could use him, even though they have a quarterback there who may not be ready, though, next season because of surgery. He'll end up somewhere. If it's not with Baltimore, he'll end up with a nice contract with a team that needs a quarterback. And as it is, a quarterback makes a team go. We know that. We're seeing it with Trevor Lawrence. We're seeing it with Purdy. We're seeing it with Daniel Jones, as we've been mentioning. Quarterback will make a team go with proper coaching. He's going to be a guy. Somebody's going to want him.
For sure. And when he's healthy, he's not just arguably, he is a top 5 quarterback across the
Yes, he
NFL.
is.
He goes along the lines: Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, MVP in 2020. Look at this. We're in
Good passer.
2023. You can't give
He
up
can
on him just like that.
No, he can throw the ball. He can compile yards, get that team down yardage down the field, and he drives. He knows how to drive a team. That's why I love him. This game last night, this was the only blowout of the Super wild card game. Super wild card. I love the way they call that. Super wild card. And that guy, Dak Prescott, 4 touchdowns, postseason record. He threw, he threw the ball, ran the ball. The Cowboys won for the first time 30 years on the road in a postseason game. They've got momentum. They scored the 31 points, which they're capable of doing anytime. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys move on now. And this guy, and we'll talk more about the Cowboys in a moment. Tom Brady, the story. Was it his last game? And as a player, as an Hall of Fame quarterback, does he go on? Does he stay with Tampa Bay or somewhere else? Go to the broadcast booth with a contract waiting for him at Fox, a big one. Brady, 66-yard pass attempts, most in his career, 31, I believe, most in the playoffs attempts that he made. But but here's the thing that stood out with Brady: 66 pass attempts, the most in his career. So he still got it, but you saw that he didn't have it getting intercepted in the end zone, which doesn't happen to him. So does Brady still have it? Does Brady still with Tampa Bay as they go home?
It's the biggest question of them all during the offseason. Week by week, it's going to change. You'll hear the rumors. It's going to change for sure. But Brady, 66 pass attempts. That's no winning football in the regular season or in the postseason. And they were down just to start off the game. Dak Prescott didn't look that confident to begin, and then he piled on with 305 passing yards.
He got better as the game went along.
For sure. They finished the game 31-14, but it didn't seem that close to begin with. They controlled the time of possession by 10 minutes. They had 26 first downs and were 2 for 2 on fourth down. So in those big game-winning moments, whenever it was, although the score didn't show it, the Cowboys won those battles.
All right, so Cowboys now play the 49ers. Prescott against Purdy. Who do you like?
Ooh, that's a tough one right now. Cowboys at Niners. That's a 6:30 game for Sunday. And I believe the line is 3.5 for the Niners right now. And I'm going to side with the Niners. I like what Brock Purdy's been working with McCaffrey and Debo. So until barring health, I'm going with the Niners for this week.
Going to be a good one in the NFC divisional battle with those teams. Also last night, what did you make of a guy who did not have the golden foot? I can't believe what I saw with Brady. What was it, Brett Meyer? Brett Meyer.
Yeah.
First 4 extra points he missed. Mentally, I can't believe some of these fans was.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I saw on social media and even me directly that the game was fixed, that this was purposely done. No, the kicker, Meyer, had a bad night. And it'd be mental, whatever it was, he just didn't have it. And then he makes the last one. But that's an NFL record, postseason record. 4 easy mixture, extra points. Regardless, the Cowboys won, but not a fix. Come on.
No, not a fix. And honestly, you look at the stats throughout the regular season, the Cowboys kicker, Brett Maher, has been one of the best kickers across the NFL. So he had a bad night postseason compared to regular season. It's different emotions, different preparation. So Dak Prescott, Mike McCarthy, the head coach, both praised him, both gave him confidence post-game. So they're going to lead him at the helm for that field goal kick next week against San Francisco.
A big win for McCarthy as well for the coach of the Cowboys. He needed that. But a lot of talk about him, McCarthy, that he's not the right coach for this team. Something's wrong. Well, you know what? Last night, 31 points, and Prescott and the way that team performed. Nothing wrong with him now, is there? Huh?
No. It could be in 5 days. Time will tell.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. I look forward to that. I look forward to all 4 games on the slate this weekend. Let's take a look at it. With Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs is the AFC #1 seed, and Joe Burrow with the Bengals trying to get back to the Super Bowl. Here are the matchups. Let's put it up, Avery, our great producer behind the scenes. Jaguars, Chiefs, Bengals, Bills in the AFC, and then you go to the final 4 there right now, standing 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You got the Giants, Eagles in the NFC, Cowboys, 49ers. It's going to be a great divisional weekend in the NFL, just the way the NFL wants it. So far, so good. Super Wild Card weekend, build up to expectations, except for the game last night with the Cowboys. And look, you're going to have a blowout. You had one of them. Last night was the blowout. To a certain point, it looked like it would have been going to be a little closer, but then the Cowboys and Prescott opened it up. All right, briefly again, Wiz, before we take it to our break, Jaguars, Chiefs, who do you like?
I'm going with Kansas City on that one.
I'm going to go with the Jaguars, and I think they're going to upset them, and I think it's because Trevor Lawrence is going to have another comeback type of win. Going to be close. All right? Take my word for it.
All right.
I don't know, but that's what I think. All right. Bengals, Bills, how do you got it?
I'm going to side with the Bengals here. I just think Josh Allen, with the turnovers going on the last 3 weeks, I'm going to go with the Bengals and Joe Burrow. Back-to-back AFC championship appearances, and let's see, back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. Time will tell with that one, too.
I think that crowd in Buffalo is going to be the biggest frenzy you've ever heard, ever seen. This was a game that was called off 2 weeks ago because of Jamal Hamilton, who's doing real well. He might even be there. But look, I like the Bills at home with that crowd. Believe me, the crowd does have an impact, and they will up there in Orchard Park. So but more so, I think Josh Allen's going to have a good game, and he's going to be able to get by that Bengals defense. And look, a close one, but I give that one to the Bills. Now, here we go in the NFC again. Giants, Eagles. Third time. Ooh. 3 teams out of the NFC East, too, still in there. That's an incredible thing because there used to be a division in the NFL was called the NFL least. Giants, Eagles, down in Philadelphia.
I'm signing with the Eagles here, 7.5-point favorites. If it goes to 8, I'm still signing with the Eagles and Jalen Hurts.
All right, I like the Eagles. Close one, too. It won't be a blowout. And Cowboys 49ers. And I love this game. I love the 2 quarterbacks, and I love the matchup. Who do you like?
I'm going to go with the 49ers here. I just don't think Dak Prescott and the Cowboys can finish it off on the road against Brock Purdy. I'm going to go with the Niners here, and perhaps Mike McCarthy out as Cowboys head coach. We'll see.
Oh, I don't think he'd be out if they lose, but you know who I like in this game. Come on, you know who I like, Wiz. Who is it?
I feel like you're going with the Cowboys here, and that's everyone's pick going into it.
No,
you're going to go with the Niners?
I like Niners. I like Purdy. I do.
All right.
Momentum, Purdy, and so forth. And that offense, Niners. And I don't think it's going to be as close as you think. What's the line on that?
3.5 right now. Niners are favorites.
Yeah, well, they might win by more than that. Look, I'm not a prognosticator. I'm the worst with that. I like the Niners. Okay, there you have it. The Super Bowl is getting close. We now go into the divisional play and the rights to go to the respective championship games, the AFC, NFC, coming up this weekend. All right, Wiz, let's move on. We're going to get to the bottom of the hour, and we're going to first get to our fact of the week and bring in Avery, and then we'll take it to break and bring in a great guest, Ryan Aponte, a fitness trainer with baseball and others, and representing his company tonight. We'll talk about it when we get back from our first break. But first, Avery, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, Rich. How are you?
Did you enjoy Wild Card Weekend?
I did. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I got to watch Tom Brady and the Vikings lose in the same weekend. It was great.
Do you think Brady stays in Tampa Bay? Does he retire, or does he go somewhere else?
Well, he ruined his entire family to play football, so I hope he doesn't retire yet.
I don't think he's retiring. Wiz, I really don't think so. He's got too much in it. 45 years old, still believes he can take a team somewhere big again. I don't think he's retiring, even though he's got a big contract waiting for him with Fox in the broadcast booth, but I don't see that either. All right. Avery, here we go. Let's put up the skull again because the fact of the week is sponsored by Skull Energy. And your energy drink, remember that to get energized, be more alert, Skull Fuel Energy, and reach them at more information. The website's not really up and going yet. Skull Energy at 475-264-6091. Skull Fuel Energy. Fact of the week. They sponsor the show. They sponsor on the SLG network and the fact of the week. And let me bring it out. You ready, guys? Here we go. You ready?
We're ready.
And you people out there in the cube, you're welcome to try and get the answer. This is a big one now, and this is a very factful one. It's not trivia. Fact of the week. Did you put up fact of the week on the image, Avery? Did you put it up?
No, we put up the skull. I put up because you put up the sponsor.
Oh, anyway, I need the fact of the week before making it official. Fact of the week. It's not the fact of the week till that goes up. You know that. All right? All right. Avery, smile.
This is it?
Here we go. Here you go, guys. Listen carefully. Top 3 most expensive teams in the NBA this season. Now, what I want to know is the top 3 most teams as far as an expense for fans in the NBA this season. And I want you to count ticket sales, beer sales, hot dog sales, and parking.
Oof. I'm just going
So
to
those are
start
the
here.
top 3 most expensive teams for a fan to attend a game in the NBA. And again, ticket sales, beer sales, hot dog sales, and parking.
I'm going to go with the Lakers for sure in the top 3. Yeah?
Ah, you got one of them. Yeah.
All right. The Knicks for sure. Knicks top 3.
That's 2.
And because this is tough, I'm going to go with
Maybe Golden State.
I'm going to go with Golden State along with Avery.
That's it. 3 of you got it. Congratulations.
Shout out to
Rizz, we
SLG
get the
Network
bobblehead.
too.
But you
We get the
but
bobblehead.
you didn't get the rest. You did get the top 3. The Warriors, Lakers, and the Knicks. And just to tell you that the Celtics, Nets, the Bulls, the Suns, the Sixers, Clippers, and the Bucks follow. All right? But what I got to know now, though you did get the fact of the week, but I want to see if you can get the other part of it. Give me an idea, and you can hold this to the end of the show if you want to take one crack of it real fast now. How much is the average ticket now for that Warrior game, Laker game, or Knick game?
I'm just gonna guess
great
here.
job, guys. On the first shot, you got the 3 teams. That's great.
I'm gonna go like $105, $115.
For
Well,
Warriors, Lakers, or Knicks?
Lakers.
No.
Warriors is probably like, I don't know, 125, 130.
No. Okay, so now you got the Knicks left. One more. We're gonna go to break after this.
165. I don't know.
No.
Knicks and
Now, do you want me to give you the price?
Do
Do you want me to give you the price now and then go on to the other stuff, the beer later, the parking, and the hot dogs later? Or give you the price of the average ticket now for those 3?
How about we wait on that because in the queue here,
Is Ryan?
Somebody just put that Joe Briscoe passed away.
Yeah, I see that. Joe Briscoe. Wilson took it. I know he had been ailing. I had heard that. So our condolences to Jay Briscoe. Yeah, he was a Ring of Honor Tag Team Champ. Thank you, Bio Boys, for that. Let's get the rest of the facts stuff at the end of the show.
We got a couple of comments here. Calvin thinks it's a 227 for the Lakers for the average price. And then Josh says the Knicks are 250.
All right. Now, here's what I'll tell you now. I'll give you the ticket prices now, because then and then we'll do the other stuff later. Warriors $611. All right. Lakers $518. Knicks $346. All right. Got it?
What's the breakdown on that?
Yeah,
$600.
I have no
really
idea. I only get the facts. I don't know the breakdown, but that's a fact. Trust me. You got the three teams. You didn't get the price, but now think about the beer prices, the hot dog prices, the parking, and so forth a little later. We'll finish up with that tonight, okay? And anyone else out there in the queue. Take a quick break. Come back. We have an interesting guest lined up, and that'll be Ryan Aponte, a young man who I know real well. We'll talk more about him and much more on the other side. Sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. This is Sports with Rich. Back in a moment on the other side with more. And we have a lot more to come here. Questions, comments, like, comment, and subscribe. Back after this. Thank you, What's Popping, a proud sponsor here on the SLG Network and here on Sports with Rich. Welcome in again, everybody, as we reach 8:35 p.m. Eastern here, and that's the Wiz Robert Rizzo. I'm Rich Mancuso. Our social media handles scrolled on the bottom of the screen. Like, comment, and subscribe on this channel, SLG Network, and my YouTube page, Rich Mancuso. Also, keep in touch with us on social media. Our handles scrolled at the bottom, as I said. All right, Wiz, interesting part of the show. I'm going to welcome in a friend, a young friend, who has really moved on in this world. I've known him about 7 years and comes out of a baseball training institute in the Bronx. And I think we have Ryan Aponte. Is he there? Get him in there, and there he is.
How's it going,
And
guys?
my
Can you hear
buddy
me?
Ryan, and Ryan is with
All good.
Athletes. What is it? Athlete Resource
Athletes
Center.
Resource Center. Yep.
Out of where, Ryan?
Based out of the Bronx.
Out of the Bronx. And all right, Ryan, let's background everybody about you. A young man who I met at a baseball training academy in the Bronx. Very involved with his family and the family-run Castle Hill Little League, but always into baseball, always into training young people because he got the proper training as well. And now he's taken that on, Wiz, to another level. He is now instrumental in getting young people into shape, proper training for baseball or any other sport. I've had the privilege of knowing this young man and know how well he's. How old are you now, Ryan?
I'm 27 now, which is kind of crazy.
We get up in age.
Time is flying, right?
Well, you're not. Wiz is not too far behind you, though. He's young. But
I'm a little younger, 23, but I'm getting there.
And so I take Ryan to the winter baseball meetings a few years ago. I believe it was in Las Vegas. He did his networking and he landed himself on it and got what he wanted. And now, Ryan, what is your exact position with the Athletes Resource Center? And we'll show some images and a little video of what you do, and you could explain.
Yeah, so I would like to call myself like the founder of Athlete Resource Center. Pretty much it was a brand where I kind of thought about an ark, right? You think about Noah's Ark, and that's kind of where I got the idea with the acronym of Athlete Resource Center, which, yeah, I mostly work with baseball players, but it's pretty much an outlet where any athlete could come by, and I focus on strength and conditioning, but not only strength and conditioning, but all facets of an athlete. So involves strength and conditioning, any advice in regards to going to the next level, whether it's a high schooler going to college or a middle schooler going to high school, college to the pros. And we also offer like marketing services. So marketing is a big thing. I mean, now with the things like NIL deals, content, social media, all those things go a long way. So we offer a bunch of services.
That's awesome, man.
And those services. Wiz, let's take a look. I think we have a little video of a pitching session that he's done with a young man. And Avery, if we can put that up and let's roll it a little bit, and we can give everyone a chance, an opportunity to see what Ryan does a little bit behind the scenes here with Athletes Resource Center. Avery, do we have that video up, ready to go?
This is where they say, let's look at a 90 fastball, right? The 90 fastball there, and a little bit change up. So you know what I'm saying? So that's something you want to be conscious of, right? Because we're looking at like tunneling. So if your fastball is tunneling out of there, like your changeup is tunneling out of there. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, even though it's a couple inches though, like it's the difference between like being here with your fastball and like you're being here with your changeup. So maybe that might be like some type of like tip off. You know what I'm saying? Tip off of the changeup.
Yeah.
Like we could tunnel it better with the fastball and the changeup.
Who is that you're working with right there?
Yeah, so that's Tyler Roach. Tyler Roach, he's currently a junior in St. John's University. Another athlete that I've known for a long time. I've met Tyler when he was 12 years old. He played with my brother, travel ball. And even at that age, I kind of had the same mission, is guiding athletes to pursue their dreams. And I'm a big fan of Tyler because I felt that there were certain individuals in his life, especially some coaches that he had in the high school level, that was kind of cutting him short. And, I will never forget, I had a conversation in Puerto Rico with him and in the same room with my brother. And I told him, hey, listen, you have all the tools. You have the projectability. You're tall, you're lanky, you're playing well at this level. I think if you just lock in a little bit and put some work ethic behind to what you're doing, I think sky's the limit. And I'm not sure if it was my doings, just telling him and giving him that advice, but since that point on, his sophomore year to his senior year of high school, he was doing a lot of things like the pipeline, MLB pipeline, breakthrough series, which is programs MLB offers to expose a player and give him more opportunities to play at the next level. And it's great to see him playing at St. John's because St. John's is one of the most prestigious colleges in the Northeast, and it's good to have him close to home. And in fact, St. John's I mean, Tyler, this Sunday is going to be at Castle Hill Little League in our winter clinics, giving back to the kids as well. So it's good to see that, my mission is just impacting the youth or impacting anyone as much as I can. Now, in the past, when you were 21 years old or whatever the case is, couldn't have much influence. But now that I'm a little bit older, I get to see my influence having much impact to the lot younger athletes as well.
In that video, you guys were focusing in on a specific device, and it's called the Portable TrackMan Unit. And I wanted you to tell us, along with the audience, what specific details are part of that device, and what details do athletes try to integrate into their own game with that device?
Yeah, for sure. So my full-time job is I work for TrackMan Baseball, and TrackMan it's been around for a while. It's kind of like what powered the whole analytics thing behind baseball, what's going on. So my job in the Northeast is going around with the device, going through demos and selling the devices, regular salesmen would do. But the way I use it, and I'm grateful to have access to it, it's basically recording all the metrics of the baseball. So pitch velocity, spin rate, movement, tunneling, your strike zone as well. So in that specific video, I'm not one so much to critique mechanics because, yeah, I do have my opinions, but my basis of training is using technology, so it won't be so much opinion based. It's pretty much diving into what the naked eye can't see, and the naked eye can't see how tunneling would work. So in that case, in that video, I was using the TrackMan portable device to focus on tunneling. So the theory with tunneling is ideally you would want your fastball and your off-speed pitches to kind of walk through the same tunnel and then break off at the end. So a hitter would have more difficulty recognizing your pitches versus, in this example, what I was seeing is that Tyler's fastball was kind of coming through a specific tunnel, and his slider and his changeup was coming through another. So a more experienced hitter might pick that up and notice when a changeup or a slider is being thrown just based off that slight difference.
So how important, Ryan, is it right now? A lot of kids are getting ready to get into the spring. They get ready. They're preparing now for their baseball seasons on all levels. How important is this for strength and conditioning right now, mechanics and so forth, as they get into that first phase before this season begins?
I think it's extremely important. I think the dynamic of baseball is changing. You have a lot of talented coaches like myself that played the game, and now they're giving back to the youth as well. And just there's so much knowledge out there. I always say, like, I kind of miss that window. I kind of miss that window where, technology was kind of coming out and about. It wasn't really there yet. And unfortunately, I'm 5'6", 150 pounds. I take the field, I'm not going to pass an eye test, and that's something that I feel like technology brings forward. Despite your height, despite your size, you have these technologies showing, hey, he's small, but he can run fast. He's small, but he can hit the ball hard. He's small, but he throws well. And those are things that, let's look at Jose Altuve. That's an extraordinary athlete. You got guys like Marcus Stroman, 5'8", 5'7", throwing the ball hard. And just a lot of more science behind baseball, which I think that there was a long period of time, don't get me wrong. You asked me 3 years ago, there was a huge divide, not using analytics and technology in baseball, the old school coaches. But then now those old school coaches are starting to see some advantages that can come in with using technology as well. It can't be
and you're talking about analytics and the Rizz, and I always talk to him about this. I am not an analytical person. I think you know that from our discussions.
Right.
But you are. In fact, that's your job. And a lot of baseball teams, and we'll get back to the conditioning in a moment. We're going to talk about this. A lot of teams in Major League Baseball, if not all of them, they're analytically driven right now. That's what they do. A lot of teams spend a lot of money on analytics. The game is analytics right now. Yet I don't like it, but why do you like it? And yet you're still incorporating the old adage of it as well in it. But why do you like analytics so much?
I think what I need to be clear on is the fact that there's kind of two ways a pro organization or team can use analytics. So what I use analytics for is more player development. What you can also use analytics for is game strategy. Now, I'm kind of on the cusp of Yeah, I think at a certain point, maybe analytics can't be the sole drive for game strategy, but I think there's a lot of value in using analytics in player development, right? So how can we use analytics in player development? Is measuring a specific performance, whether it's a T-ball player or professional player. You really want to see, am I getting better? Or are you answering the question, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I hitting a certain way? Why am I throwing a certain way? You can even go to other sports. Why am I shooting the basketball this way? Why am I throwing the football this way? So that's why you can use technology to answer those questions, right? And that's kind of why I always stood upon, right? I always stood upon, all right, so is it true if I hold my hands up higher this way, I can hit the ball harder? But like, what could have I used in the past to really show that that was actually true? So that's kind of what it comes down to, right? Or all right, fine. I just went through a whole strength and conditioning off season. Did I actually get stronger, or did I actually get faster? So what's wrong? And as a trainer myself, if I can use technology to assess those things, then I can also say, hey, maybe what I'm doing right now is not really working for this specific athlete, and I can change things. So that's kind of where I use the analytical part. And sometimes I also agree with you, Rich, when it comes to game theory. I think that maybe analytics is used too heavily. I know there's a lot of organizations, now being behind the scenes and being part of the game and getting word from executives, and teams have R&D teams and all that stuff. Maybe those guys might be having too much influence on managers and coaches. But to be clear, what I really and 100% bought into is just using analytics on the player development side.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
and you mentioned it before, the what's wrong aspect. So when you interact and you work with high school athletes, collegiate athletes, pro players, what seems to be the number one issue that they come to you with regarding and starting up those sessions?
Honestly, it's just an initial assessment. I think it's just, I come across a lot of good players that can throw well, that can hit well, but being able that now that I'm traveling through different states and different facilities, whether it's the Northeast or the South or East Coast, I'm noticing that the biggest difference is just the athleticism, like your ability to be strong, your ability to be mobile, your stability, all those things that I still see being neglected kind of like in programs. And that's the biggest thing. I think, listen, at the end of the day, I do agree that, if you can't hit or you can't feel the ball, or you can't throw a ball, then you're probably not going to find yourself on the field. But now beyond that, when you're competing against a player who can throw, who can hit, who can catch just as well as you, what's going to be the difference maker? And I really think that the difference maker is going to be just your athleticism, your ability to be strong, but also stay strong throughout the season, right? How can you stay healthy throughout the season with neglecting, strength and conditioning, all those things, mobility? And that's the first thing that goes, when you stop playing sports and you stay at you lose that activity, you lose mobility, you lose the stability. And that's why, you get up from a chair and you're like, oh man, I'm getting old. But it's just really continuously focus on those things that can help you throughout your life.
And we have a
Ryan
photo of you.
Aponte, yeah, let's take a look at this. It's Ryan Aponte, the athletics resource, and a young man from the Bronx who's doing great things with young people, athletic training and stuff like that. Again, Wiz.
No, I believe we have a photo of Ryan training during a fitness session for youth. I believe it was recently. And my question regarding that, and you mentioned it before, the confidence aspect. There's many kids out there that they strike out, they walk back to the dugout, they don't want to play baseball anymore. So regarding your sessions, how are you able to keep these kids confident? Because I know that's not your job, but that has something to do with it at these sessions.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point because I actually majored in psychology. So I went to SUNY Purchase, and my major is in psychology. And I wasn't really, I've always had interest in sports psychology. And I also had interest in like child development and those aspects of things. And I think that helped me out a lot because, I do, you could read confidence from a mile away. Body language is everything. And there's plenty of times where I'm coming across an athlete or a baseball player, and I'm telling them, listen, you just made the play. You made the play before. And if you just made the play once, that means you can make the play a million of times. But the biggest difference is, your confidence, and sports in general, and baseball too. The baseball, like they say, I'm sure Rob,
Mental.
too. It's all mental.
You know
Absolutely.
that.
it's all mental.
mentality, and you're a boxing guy as well as I am, and a UFC guy. And we've talked this about how important the mental aspect it is, and how baseball and boxing, there's a correlation with that, the mentality. So, and that's another thing that you're really good at, Ryan.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No, for sure. But I really think the mental aspect of the game is something that is extremely important. And it's sad to say I've seen very talented athletes in all aspects of sports that unfortunately don't make it to the next level just because of their mentality. And that's something where, now it's still a deficit. Now you're starting to see pro organizations hire sports psychologists, and it's still not as big as it should be. I don't want to bring. I'm a Yankee fan, and I think my prime example. I know it's not proven, but how can Gleyber Torres play shortstop, but he can only play second base? It's not his inability to field the ground ball. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just entirely mental, right? Look at Joey Gallo before he left the
Mm-hmm.
Yankees. That wasn't his inability to hit. Of course, the atmosphere in New York is a tough atmosphere, and that's something that certain owners have to kind of take in consideration when you bring in a new star to New York. Is just that environment. You have to have a mentally tough athlete to
And
play
how's a
for an
guy last
organization like New
night,
York.
like on the Cowboys, missed what,
Yeah.
4 field goal for extra point attempts?
Hmm.
Mental. It's
Exactly.
almost, it is. I
Exactly.
talk to Wiz about this all the time. How it's not only the physical ability, but it's also the. You have to have a good mental state of mind on the field, on the court, and in the ring. Most are in the ring that I've seen so many times. Fighters, Ryan, that have not. Their mentality's not there. And a lot of people over the years would say this, since Buster Douglas upset Mike Tyson, that night Tyson came in the ring, his mentality wasn't there. Credit
Yeah.
for Buster Douglas for getting that upset win of the century in boxing, but it's so important to have the right mental attitude when you're playing any sport.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's something that, if you come into one of my sessions and if you played for me in the past, I kind of take that fighter approach to my training. Even my breakdowns of playing a 9 inning game, I tell my players, listen, think about it as a 9 round fight. You got to go out there, you got to fight every single inning, and even in the training aspect, I kind of go with that fighter mentality, right? Unfortunately, fighters one fight you lose can ruin your career.
It
Baseball,
does,
at least
yeah.
there's
Mhm.
another game to play. So I try to tell my athletes, like, listen, go with that mentality, this is it. This game is it. You have to leave it all on the field, like they say, you have to leave it all in the ring. And that's something where that's why I love martial arts, boxing so much, because those guys, it takes a
Mhm.
village for sure to get there. The camp is extremely important,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, you in that ring by yourself.
Yeah.
So important, so key. Ryan, a young man comes to you for the first time. Briefly, what is your strategy? What is your session like?
So when it comes to an athlete coming to me for the first time, it's all assessments. So first off, I don't really say much. I'm really trying to see what type of character I'm working with, right? So when it comes to the breakdown, dynamic warm up, mobility assessments, skill assessments. So that's kind of how the breakdown when it comes to structure of my workouts. But I'm also looking at certain things. I'm looking at your ability to focus, your ability to work through a workout with being tired. And there's certain things that I'm still trying to figure out if an athlete is born with certain things like grit, drive, passion, or is this something that you could really instill in an athlete? And I'm still trying to answer that question myself. But for
Mm.
sure, when it comes to an athlete coming to me for the first time, the first thing I'm really looking at is character, right? That's number
Mhm.
one with me. I really like discipline. I really like an athlete who's respectful, and I also take in consideration that I'm at the end of the day I'm an inner city kid working with other inner city kids, and I know the challenges they face. So I'm always putting myself in another athlete's shoe and understanding their background, because a lot of these things, at the end of the day, sports is an outlet, right? Sports is an outlet to better things. And that's something that I'm trying to use as a tool to give back to my community, to give back to the youth. And for, maximize your potential, right? That's kind of like my motto, right? Maximize your potential. And that's kind of what I'm there for. Like, I treat it like, if you're a baseball player, you're a basketball player, you're a football player, soccer player, have me in your camp. Have me part of your camp, right? You have your manager, you have your strength and conditioning coach, you have your hitting coach, your pitching coach. Nowadays, it's not just one guy anymore, right? You go to a specific guy for hitting, you go to a specific guy for strength and conditioning. Have me part of your camp, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to guide you through your career. Whether not every kid I work with wants to play at the pro level. Not every kid I work with wants to play college ball. But fine, play now. Let that work ethic be instilled in you, right? Because if you could wake up early to practice when you don't really want to, when you can go outside, practice in the cold in the Northeast when you don't want to, or you can practice in the blistering sun when you don't want to. That applies just like work, and I'm sure we all see that now.
Wow, it's a great message. And Ryan, one other thing, and then the Wiz will wrap it up too with another question. These kids that I've encountered, and you have too, they just come in that want to pitch and feel that they got to throw 95 to get there. I don't agree with that. And that's taking a toll on their arms. That's leading to Tommy John surgeries for young kids on a high school level. And you've seen that. You've experienced it. You've seen it. How do you prevent that stuff, Ryan?
Well, the biggest thing I think that's really neglected, and like I go back to, is just the ability to move, or your ability to have strength, right? So there's a lot of tests being ran, like it's internal, external rotations, core stability, hip mobility. So there's certain things that it's like when you're building a car and you're ready to take off, but you don't really have an engine, an engine to fuel the car. So we're focusing on trying to throw as hard as we can without focusing on the foundations of certain things. And I think that's really what's going on with pitchers and youth pitchers as well. And not only that, I think that sometimes like taking a rest isn't the worst thing that can happen. Right. So understanding your body, and there's, going back to technology, right? Not everything, I know there's expensive things and there's more affordable things, but at the end of the day, as a trainer, you want to invest in things that are going to keep your athletes healthy. So I think that if there's more ideas, and now even PT doctors and pitching coordinators from the pro level are out there putting their research and all those things in public. And I think that if coaches, even at the lower level, little league is extremely important.
What you're involved with, so you know that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
and
the
right
foundation
now
of everything.
You're training young people for the great and established Castle Little League in the Bronx. Was anything else for Ryan before we let him go?
Yeah, I got one more question, and we actually have a photo of it also. So one inner city kid to another, you've been alongside Ernie Ordonez's career from the beginning, drafted in the 2019 MLB draft, 33rd round by the Pittsburgh Pirates. How did that friendship come about?
Yeah, so Ernie is actually a really good friend of my little brother, Randy, which Rich knows very well as well. And, I respect Ernie as a person because, he's in the minor leagues. He comes back home during the off season, and if you meet him, he's just treats you like everyone else. You wouldn't even know. Well, you would know he's a pro player, right? He has that body. He has that character. But Ernie was definitely one of the first pro level players that kind of trusted me with his development. He kind of got drafted in that time where COVID was coming around, so there wasn't really a need to have minor leaguers go off to their player development sites and whatnot. So he actually trusted me in his development, and till this day, it means a lot. And whenever I need him to come and talk to the kids, he comes by, and I think that's very important as well. When you have someone just like you, as long as you can see that it's possible, right? As long as you can see, like, man, if this guy did it, like, so can I. That means a lot, right? That means a lot. And that's exactly what Ernie is. He's from the Bronx. Wow. He gives back to his community. And that's something that, to this day, I know when he speaks to kids, kids remember him. They say, hey, if Ernie did it, and he says the same message too, if I did it, you could do it too. You know, he comes from very humble beginnings.
That's a great story. And Wiz, there you go. Latino Sports. There's a column for you, my friend.
There we go. We'll get it up and running soon.
You know, my young protege, Ryan Aponte, I mean, I got him. I helped him. But you're my protege. He's become just, what can I say? He's a superstar in strength and conditioning.
Rich, I always say you're kind of like my cousin D'Amato. I always say that, you know. I tell Rob over text too, man. And I tell everyone. I tell my friends. I tell my girlfriend. You know, if it really wasn't for you, I don't think I would be in the position I am today. You know.
Come on.
No,
you know what?
Serious.
He says the same thing to Wiz. Come on, it's not me. I lead
true.
you guys. Yeah. You know, no. It's a credit to you guys, good young men who followed advice and then went on and did it. And you know what? You went on your own. Look, the Wiz is going to go on his own too soon. You know, and this is what it's about. I enjoy helping young people achieve their goals, their aspirations and goals. And now you're doing it. And in a few years, the Wiz will start doing that as well. And that's what makes me happy. Ryan Aponte, how do people reach you, my friend? I've learned even more. We talk often, so and I might even see you this weekend. But how do people reach you, Ryan, for the Athlete Resource Center?
So I have a website, athleteresourcecenter.com. But definitely the easiest way to reach me is through my social media channel. So ARC NYC or Trained by Ryan. I'm on Instagram. I reply to all DMs, messages. I try to help out people as much as I can with all questions. So if you have any questions regarding anything,
Avery, let's put that logo up again, the Athletes Resource Center. There it is. So people get an idea when they log on. They can see that to get them to Ryan. And Ryan, keep up the good work, my friend. Maybe I'll see you this weekend. And this has been great. I learned. I hope a lot of people out there listening learned. And all the best and continued success, my friend. Right, Wiz?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan. It was a joy, and we'll definitely have you back on soon.
It's definitely been a pleasure. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll be in touch, Ryan. Thank you. Ryan Aponte, Athletes Resource Center. And what did we learn more? Wiz, we learned a lot more. And you learn a lot. And his mindset, mentality, what he said, mentality, strength and conditioning. That was really great. I'm glad we were able to get him, and I'm glad he was able to talk about what he does. And that was great. But we're going to move on now, and let's continue the program. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll be keeping in the ring. We're sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. Don't forget Skull Fuel Energy. Enjoy and drink and stay focused. Skull Fuel Energy. And let me give you the right phone number right now. Their website's still not up, but you can call them direct to get samples and cases. 475-264-6091. 475-264-6091. We'll have the phone number up there for you as well. Skull Fuel Energy. Drink and enjoy. Get focused. And there'll be coffee, too, coming in the line. All right, Wiz, keep it in the ring up next. Stay with us here on Sports with Rich. Like, comment, and subscribe. SLG Network. And my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. I write also for LatinoSports.com, NewYorkSportsDay.com, as well as The Wiz. Right, Wiz? Great columns you've been doing. More to come this week. And our social media handles scroll at the bottom of the screen. Back on the other side. Keep it in the ring. Up next, Sports with Rich. Stay with us.
The door and keep your eyes shut. The lights flicker, there's evil all around us. No one's safe from the nightmare. Cold sweat, so scared. Someone get me out of here. Say, you better be afraid. The night's coming like fire from a hand grenade. There's no escaping tonight. It's coming alive.
Sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy, among others, here at Sports Rich on the SLG Network. Hour number 2, Skull Fuel Energy. Drink, enjoy, get focused. More to come. Wiz, we're ready now. Keep it in the ring. Hour number 2. You ready?
I'm ready. Keep it in the ring, as always.
Oh yeah, as always. And I forgot to tell that to Ryan to say keep it in the ring. He knows that I don't say goodbye unless I say keep it in the ring. We do that every week. Well, anyway, slow in the boxing world right now. They're getting the fights hopefully together. Though ESPN kicked off the new boxing, the first big show of the new year, basically, or the second, was at the Storm Turning Resort Casino upstate Verona, New York. Top Rank had the Nigerian heavyweight F.A. Ajada, and he got the win over Stephen Shaw. Excuse me, his first loss for Stephen Shaw. Heavyweight division, not a major fight, but to see someone that might be in the heavyweight title picture at some point, maybe this year or early next. But there was a big story, the fight before. And again, we're talking about officials and replay. The referee, Benji Estevez, in a controversy in the co-main event. Italian heavyweight, Guido Vanello, headbutt. They stopped the fight. Estevez thought it was a knockdown. They had to go to replay. They didn't have replay up there, Wiz. They went to the ESPN feed. And Joe Testador, it was so interesting. The elite commentator on ESPN fights. And Joe's a great guy, great boxing club. Became a replay official because he brought a referee over to look at the replay. And then they got in the ring. And then it was ruled that Guido lost.
That's just so important. That's just so important. And I know it's annoying on all sports, including boxing, the replay system, but I'd rather waste the 5 minutes and them get it right in that process than have to deal with the controversy for a year plus. So if it takes 5 minutes, props to boxing, props to ESPN for getting it right.
Yeah, well, if they didn't have the ESPN telecast, then that would have been something different.
For sure.
They didn't have replay up there. And the thing with boxing, Wiz, is they're trying to get replay to become an official part of boxing, whether you have televised cards or not. Some of them are doing it. Some have been successful. We saw some of that happen last year, also on ESPN with the top-ranked promoted card. I think replay is good. I'm not faulting boxing referees. I won't fault any official. Toughest job in the world in any sport. But in boxing, it's even more tougher as the third man in the ring.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing that task along with any referee job. You have so much pressure, not just from the players, the coaches, and the fans in that stadium, in the arena, but just imagine the millions of fans watching on the television from across the world. So just the mental aspect for referees, I can't imagine.
And you're seeing it as part of a Bella boxing promotion. It's going to kick off their first show in New Year in April. And you've seen it firsthand how these boxing referees, they have a tough job, third man in the ring. One time, way before you were born, years ago, boxing, the referee was not only doing the official in the ring, he was also scoring the fight as well. They changed that for safety measures, which was a good thing. Anyway, on this Saturday, do have a good fight on the Zone. On DAZN, Chris Eubank Jr. against Lionel Smith at the AO Arena in Manchester, and that's a junior middleweight fight, and that's going to be a crowded fight. It's going to be a good one if you want to watch a fight in between the NFL and you have the Zone. Catch that on Saturday. How about the Hall of Famer, 91 years old, Don King, still going at it. He's promoting still his first fight of the new year. Doesn't do many, but he's going to do one this Saturday on pay-per-view for a minimal price. WBA number 12 heavyweight, Jonathan Guidry, former champ Bavon Sturban, who's been with King for a few years. That's a headline. Don King, 91 years old, still promoting the Hall of Famer. Not in good health, but still at it, Wiz.
What a man, what a journey it's been for him. And to be doing it at that age, it just shows not how important it is for him, but just he can't get it out of his life. It's rooted to him, and he's going to stick with it. And exactly. Hats off to him. And for him to be doing it at that age, giving the youth that chance to get big, props off to him.
Bob Arum, his counterpart for years, over at Top Rank. These two had a rivalry for years, the two of them. They've gotten to fisticuffs almost at ringside, co-promoting or one fighter or another. I saw it firsthand years ago. Bob Arum's 90 years old, still going strong. What? Well, if I could get to be 90 and still do this, I'm blessed. That's all I gotta say. All right. How about Gervonta Davis now? Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta are going at it. Here we go.
They keep
Gervonta
going.
and Shakur might be a fight at 135 down the line, but Davis says, you know, he's got Ryan Garcia hopefully set up April 15th. They still haven't signed that fight, Wiz. Oscar De La Hoya gave him a deadline yesterday to get a contract from the PBC and or Gervonta Davis side. Didn't get it. So we don't know if that fight's going to happen, which would be a terrible disappointment for boxing.
It would be a huge It would be a huge disappointment. People have been waiting for this fight for honestly years now, and we're just getting it, I believe, 2 minutes ago from ESPN Ringside. Oscar De La Hoya himself tweeted from his Twitter account, posted on his Instagram, "Devil is in the details, April 15th, let's go." And he tagged Ryan Garcia, tagged Gervonta Davis. So if Oscar De La Hoya is tweeting it, maybe it's official, but we got to see.
We have to wait till it's official. But De La Hoya obviously tweeting that it's a go, which means the contracts will be on the table, which means they'll sign this and we'll get the big fight of the year so far, April 15th. But Shakur Stevenson is waiting in the wings as well. He wants 135. And he's got a mandatory title defense on ESPN coming up on April 8th for the WBC lightweight title, eliminated. Well, whatever. You know, it's like alphabet soup. As a boxing guy myself, you can't ask. You could say to me, who's the champion in this division, that division? Who held that belt and this belt? I couldn't tell you off the top of my head because it's alphabet soup. And I've been writing about that. And I wrote about that a little bit this week on Latino Sports. That column's still up with Miguel Cotto, who is a big, the Hall of Famer, 4-division champ from Puerto Rico, Hall of Famer, great, did so much for the sport. It's got to get your act together. Too much alphabet soup. WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, blah, 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 blah.
Too much.
You know what I mean? It's much too much, and that's what causes the sport to go, that happens. So we'll see. You got the good word on a tweet. Let's see if that comes to fruition. Bob Arum, talking about him, and he's trying to get this Fury Alexander Usyk heavyweight title unification bout intact. The problem is, Arum says Usyk wants a 50-50 split, and that's not going to happen. The fight won't happen, and because it would be in England, where you make a tremendous amount of money. Of course, Fury's the WBC champ. Usyk has all the rest. And Arum says 50-50 split at Wembley in London is not going to happen. So here we go again. Boxing, politics, money. We may never see this unification heavyweight title fight. Heavyweight title for all boxing history has been about the heavyweight division, the face of the sport. It's not if you're not unified. So
exactly. And the first thing you told me, one of the first things you told me about boxing is it's all about the money. You'll learn about it. And I'm thinking back in April, what do you mean? What do you mean? Month by month, these fights get canceled because the money. Fans are the biggest losers out of all of it.
Of course they are. Yeah. And until you have a national governing body to unify, and I've been calling for this, you need a National Boxing Commission. They could put it all together. Yeah. Promoters don't want it. They don't want it and the sanctioning groups are not going to want it, the alphabet soup groups, because if they do, it comes down to that word, money. That's why it may never happen. And for the betterment of the sport, it needs to happen. Another story. Let's move on. UFC note here. John Jones is going to have a heavyweight debut, and it's going to be against Cyril Gane for the vacant title. And did you know that? You're a UFC guy more than me.
I've been keeping up on Twitter here and there. I'm not tuned in on John Jones, honestly, but I've seen it. I haven't tuned in on it.
And there'll be a trilogy between Len Edwards and Kamaru Usman. You know about that?
Yeah.
First fight. They say their first fight was the greatest finish in MMA history. And I didn't see it. Did you?
Yeah, I saw it. It was arguably one of the best finishes in history, but it has the potential this upcoming week, the next event, to have that same experience because anytime Usman gets into an octagon, fans watch from not just the United States but from across the world, sold out arenas, you name it. People are buying these tickets, buying the shirts, numbers going off the charts.
Wiz, we got to get a UFC fighter on the air, and I'll let you command that interview. How about that?
That would be great. With the Skull Fuel energy, getting my energy going.
There you go. All right. More boxing news next week. There's a light weekend this week, and for a few weeks it will be. It's really not boxing season because the NFL takes over. And hopefully the big fights will be signed between now and then. Let's keep it in the ring. Continue. Our buddy Ray cannot make it tonight, and we wish him well. Hope everything's all right. But, I'll carry the load with an interject whiz, okay? WWE. Let's put this up. Well, let's talk about the sale or not sale of the WWE. Vince McMahon is back, but is he in creative control? Sources that I have left in wrestling and tell me otherwise that he's in the office, he's listening, he's watching, but he still doesn't have creative control back. And the reason he wants creative control back, excuse me, I'm suffering a little bit tonight.
All good?
Yeah, I'm okay. Okay,
right.
Just not drinking enough water. That's the problem.
Water's essential.
Vince McMahon is back. Vince McMahon, obviously, the big story is everyone knows WWE is about to be sold. Who's going to where? Disney, Paramount, even talk rumors crazy that AEW would buy it, which I would never believe. But the Saudi Arabian group that Vince knows real well was supposedly buying and did it last week, and that was all rumor, just talk. There's a lot of rumors right now. What we do know, Vince McMahon is back in the office up in Stamford. He's watching things, but still Triple H, his son-in-law, still has creative control, meaning he's making decisions. Vince is giving suggestions. Believe what you can believe. Here's what I think was this man with the ego he has, looking to sell the company that he's had since 1976, who put wrestling on the top again. He's not going to stand for just sitting there making suggestions. He wants creative control, and then whoever buys will have him in control. And Triple H will be phased out or doing something else. Shame. Because if McMahon, and you might be thinking that he's doing it now because the WWE product in the last couple of weeks since Vince has been back seemed to revert back to the way Vince was doing it. Mm-hmm. And last night's Monday Night Raw, and I wanted Ray to interject about this, and I'm sorry he's not here to talk about it, was a great show. And next week's Raw 30th anniversary show from Philadelphia is going to be super great. They've got one great match after another. And there's talk that Vince McMahon might be in the ring there because it's Raw's 30th anniversary. And he's the innovator of Monday Night Raw.
I'd be surprised if he didn't show up or made an in-ring appearance for that. But honestly, last week's rumors, the biggest surprise to me was how could something so powerful, so wealthy, related to the sports industry get sold in that quick amount of time? For example, you look at the Washington Commanders, they've been trying to sell for over 6 to 8 months now. You look at the Denver Broncos, it took them over a year. Look at the New York Mets 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. It takes a process. It's like 8 months. So when you agree, like, it's not going to take a quick turnaround for this to happen, right?
Well, there's a lot of money involved, and it's a question of who's going to buy it. And there's a question of, they've gone from a public trading company to private again. That's the deal. And all the changes that are going on inside already. There's been movement. Vince has brought some people back, and some people have left already, which leads to more speculation that he's going to take total control and that Triple H will be out the door. And there will be a sale that's going to take a little more time than He's saying that the Saudis have taken over, that bought it already. which I don't think. I think it'll be like a Discovery or, maybe a Paramount or one of those companies. But we'll keep you posted. You see it on social media as well. The big story, though, is Vince McMahon is back. Will probably be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Will be forgiven for everything, and it seems like he is, though still pending heavy legal matters in front of him still, which might hold up a sale. That's another factor in all this, Wiz. And WWE seemed to be on an upswing, and they head into their WrestleMania season, and will Vince be a part of that? That's his baby. He started WrestleMania. You got to think he will be.
Yeah, he has to be.
This is crazy. This is a soap opera saga, and I'm going to be writing about it this week on NewYorkSportsDay.com, so look out for it, because I know the man. I know how he is. He can be devious, caring at times, but can be very devious because he's got a big ego.
Mm-hmm.
You got a big ego. When you got an ego with that money and still got a lot of money, you can do anything.
Definitely.
I mean, if I had won the Mega Millions, and maybe my ego would be bigger. I don't have big ego. Keep it in the ring. Wrestling continues. MVP on Raw last night. I think he's getting the Hurt Business back together. Bobby Lashley. The Royal Rumble coming up. You'll know more. Becky, Theory. Now, this Royal Rumble is going to be a very interesting one this year because we want to know now if Kevin Owens, he's wrestling Roman Reigns. Could Reigns still have the title going to WrestleMania, at least one of them? We'll show some enthusiasm. This is Keep It in the Ring Pro Wrestling.
Well, I'm enthused.
Well, you'll be enthused about this because I'm pretty sure The Rock is going to be at the Royal Rumble.
There we go. You got to be excited about The Rock.
Yeah. And I think it's going to tie in. Oh, I don't think you mentioned because Vince used to have it. The XFL's coming back. And I don't think Vince is going to want that. But The Rock loves Vince. The Rock credits Vince for putting him where he is. The Rock at the Royal Rumble. Will The Rock face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for one of the titles or none? I don't know. That remains to be seen. But I could see that happening. And was it, I put this on social media because I was a part of this way back. There's an old script when it used to be the WWF. Let's put that up, Avery. That's how they scripted the show years ago.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Just for the audience out there, Stone Cold Steve Austin monologue in the ring, calls for footage from SmackDown when Vince McMahon hit him, calls out Vince McMahon. Those type of scripts right there, you're only seeing on Sports with Rich from Rich Mancuso. So those type of scripts, you're not finding anywhere else.
Well,
That's
no, that
really
wasn't
good
mine.
find.
Some one of my Facebook followers is a wrestling. He's great at this. Put that up, and I just put it up. But I thought it was interesting because I remember seeing those when I was in the business years ago. Today, that script is like a book. And that's the creativity part, and this whole Vince McMahon thing controlling, and the morale in the back had been good with Triple H. I don't think the talent wants Vince to be in control again because the product got so much better. So we'll see. But that was interesting in script. And as far as AEW goes, Tony Khan is he's marveling and smiling and celebrating because he's co-owner of the Jaguars with his brother. And there he is. And who's he with there? The coach Peterson, right? Peterson?
Yeah, he's with the head coach of the Jaguars, Doug Peterson.
So Tony Khan and the Jaguars are doing well, and he's doing well with AEW. As there were a lot of rumors about AEW maybe being one of those buyers, WWE ain't happening. That's strictly a rumor. Tony Khan has got Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor, we got the word earlier tonight that Jay Briscoe, Ring of Honor champion, passed away. Very, very well-known in pro wrestling, long-time career. Behind the scenes and is active. Rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. He was one of the old school good guys, Wiz, way before your time. I met him a couple of times. So rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. Condolences to family. And Tony Khan continues. The rumors continue as MJF gets ready for Bryan Danielson next pay-per-view. Other than that, you've got back and forth here, and then all the angles continue as AEW continues tomorrow night on TBS once again. Tune in. I still love AEW. I'm on their bandwagon. Always will be. Wiz. That's it for Keep It in the Ring this week. Sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. We get all your energy needs. The Skull, drink the energy, and that's more. Skull Fuel Energy. And don't forget that you get rejuvenated. Drink and enjoy. Get focused. And if you want more info about Skull Fuel Energy, sponsor of Sports with Rich and here on the SLG Network, call 475-264-6091. Their website will be up within the next week. And we'll have a nice video of them as well as they become a part of the SLG Network family here. Wiz, that's it for Keeping It in the Ring this week. More next week. We'll get Ray back in the fold on the network, talk more pro wrestling. But stay tuned as Vince McMahon's saga in WWE continues. All right. Let's get to, are we taking a break now, Wiz, or are we going right in the NBA?
We can take a quick timeout and then go to NBA.
All right, so coming up next will be the NBA and a lot more to do, including Nobody Beats the Wiz, all right? Stay with us. It's the Sports with Rich. Like, comment, and subscribe here on the SLG Network and my YouTube channel back on the other side. And we'll have NBA and Keep It in the Ring. Stay with us.
What's good, everybody? My name is Caleb from the Bayou City Boys over here on the SLG Network. Happy to announce that we are now working with Dano's Seasoning. So if you're anything like me, you meal prep all the time, Dano's is the way to go, man. They got multiple flavors. Hit them up. Be sure to use our code SLG Network. Appreciate every single one of y'all. Peace.
Spending money like it's nothing. I don't have a budget. Please don't get offended when you see the kids stunting. Got my queens with me, but it ain't no Scarborough bluffing. See, I'm riding solo while dependent bitches cuffing. I got all I need, me, myself, and I just love it. I've been gone.
All right, we're back with Sports with Rich. I'm Rich Mancuso, and that's the Wiz, Robert Rizzo, every Tuesday night live here on the SLG Network. Like, comment, and subscribe. Questions and comments in the queue. We welcome them. Our social media handles, Ring786 at Twitter for me, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. I write for NewYorkSportsDay.com, LatinoSports.com, among some of the other outlets I write for as well. Wiz, how do they get you?
Follow me as always on Twitter, RobertRizz994, Instagram, RRizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo, and catch all my daily content on Latino Sports.
Good job. You have some good stuff up there now, baseball, and you got some NFL stuff coming up this week as well.
For sure.
Read it on latinosports.com. And we'll have more about Latino sports and the MVP award coming up. You know what? We'll talk. We don't have much baseball to talk about, but I will cue you tease again. You know, it's 30 days till pitches and catches. My goodness, like the season ended yesterday.
Now I can X marks on my calendar just like that. 30 days, I'm counting it down. 30 days is the mark.
You know, maybe then I'll get to see you more.
Definitely with the baseball season.
You'll come out of your hibernation and I'll see you more. You know, my buddy Josh has always bothered me. Where is he? Where is he? He's busy. I don't know. He hibernates in the winter. I'll see him at Fordham as well. I know there's some Fordham basketball coming up as well. I missed that for sure. Yeah.
Got to keep busy.
Yeah. All right. Busy too is the NBA. The NBA season rolls on because there's a lot of points being scored. That's why. I don't watch it because of that. No defense at all. It's all points, 50-point players all the time, back and forth. And the All-Star break will be coming up in a couple of weeks as well. Yesterday was a busy day. The Martin Luther King scheduled the annual for the NBA that they do. R.J. Barrett and the Knicks. The Knicks make up this team yesterday again. An overtime loss to Toronto. But Barrett, 32 points. Jalen Brunson, 26 points. Wiz, again, I'm going to say, are these two key guys, the two key guys on this team?
Ooh, that's a tough question because right now it's the Knicks. It's not 1-2. It's that 1-2-3 punch because every day you can get a Brunson 40-point game, an R.J. Barrett 25-point game, and then along with that, a Julius Randle 30 and 10-point game. So anything can happen with the Knicks, but they're just so inconsistent week by week. They've been 3-1 since R.J. Barrett's return from injury. He's averaging 22.3 points per game those last 4 games, shooting 43%. They're 3-1 in that span, but can they keep it up like that? 4 games is a small sample size. Knicks right now, I believe they're 6th in the East, 25-20. So they're right along that path for the playoffs, but they got to keep it up because like you mentioned, the All-Star break is around the corner and there's a whole other half of the season to go.
They seem to be playing more consistently with the winning side. And that's a good point because you got these youngsters stepping up. And you got Brunson, who has that experience, which was a great off-season addition for them. They look so much different. They've been playing more consistent. And I like the way Barrett is going towards the hoop. And I like the way Brunson keeps putting in points.
Exactly. And you mentioned it, consistency. That's the key word for the Knicks. If they stay consistent along with Jalen Brunson, they can go as long as they can in the playoffs. I'm not saying no NBA Finals, but they'll make some noise. Jalen Brunson won the Player of the Week this past week. He had 8 games between 30 to 39 points this season. But for Player of the Week out of the Knicks, most Knicks fans don't hear that throughout a season. So for Brunson to be doing that, he has the Knicks fans' heart within 40 games of him signing that lucrative deal. You look back on it, that's a cheap deal for a Jalen Brunson type of player.
And just like the Nets play across the river in Brooklyn, New York, and Kyle Irving is picking up the slack with Kevin Durant out, still injured. And again, Irving and Durant, that's the team there. There are some others that do, but with Irving and Durant together scoring a lot of points, and the Nets will win.
That's the focus for the Nets with KD along with Kyrie Irving. We got the audio working. Sorry, I didn't hear you for a sec, but we're all good. Mm-hmm. With Kyrie and KD, that's the biggest issue. Can they play on the court together? Can they get it going? Right now, KD's going through an injury, MCL sprain, so it's Kyrie Irving and the Nets against everybody. Kyrie, the last 2 games since KD's injury, 15 points and 24 points. Only 4 3-pointers made in that stretch. 2-game losing streak. So if Kyrie's not making points, the Nets ain't winning. And they have a 5-game trip that started tonight against the Spurs, Suns, Jazz, Warriors, and Sixers. Nets right now, second in the East, 27-15. It's good the way it looks now, but anything could change by a week, 2 weeks without Kevin Durant.
Still a long way to go as well.
Definitely.
Long way to go. And this team, the Celtics, and Jason Tatum, 51 points, 7 straight wins for the Celtics, 50 points, continues, 50-point games continue to be the theme for the NBA and their players this year, Wiz. No defense, 50 points, and the Celtics got one from Tatum.
That's the biggest key. No defense, all points throughout this season. But Jason Tatum, 51 points yesterday on MLK Day. He shot 15 of 23, missing only 8 shots throughout the game in the win. This is his 7th game this season with 40 points or more. He's picking up right where he left off from last season in the NBA Finals. The Celtics were 3 games away from capturing that championship. So they're right there right now, first in the Eastern Conference, 33-12. Everyone's healthy. And just like that, week by week, they'll get up to the 2nd seed, 1 seed. They'll stay in that task. Let's see what happens in the playoffs.
How about the Joker? They call him the Joker, right?
Yep, he is the Joker.
Triple-double with the Nuggets. 13 straight home win.
The guy is a complete animal. 7'1", I believe, 7'2", and he could shoot threes, pass the ball, rebound effectively. You name it, he does. The only lacking part is the defense, and you can understand that at 7'1". But Jokic, buzzer beater, over the Magic on Sunday. This season, he's averaging 25 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. So just like that, he's averaging a triple-double for the season. Let me just state that again. He's 7'1". He should not be doing that, and that's why people call him the Joker.
Yeah. Well, it's not a joker. I'm not 7'1", so that's not a joker. He is a joker. He's a great player.
For sure. No, he's one of the best. And perhaps the way he's going right now, back to back regular season MVP, we'll see.
Now, LeBron James continues to be unhappy with the Lakers more so as I've been talking throughout the show tonight, Wiz. He's unhappy with the NBA officials, just like some of the NFL players are unhappy with their officials that are selected for the playoffs, just like Major League Baseball, not so much. They're pretty much content to replay. Yeah, that needs to be changed. But the LeBron's not happy with the NBA officiating. He quoted a fan's tweet. Did you see this? Did you read this?
I missed it, so you called me on this one.
Man, I caught you on a tweet, huh? You Twitter
Yeah,
monkey, and I beat you. He
exactly.
quoted a fan's tweet. The NBA has a huge scandal. The way games are officiated, because the league office is alerting their own definition, making their own definition of rules. Okay, all year they keep telling me, he said, the officials on the court telling him to my face. This is a quote from LeBron to his face on the court. I didn't see it. And it's getting him frustrated. And the calls are not being made. And that came up on a call, a non-call in overtime, the potential winning shot. I believe it was against the Clippers. Was it against the Warriors? Against the Warriors this past few days. Against NBA officials. It was a shot that went by in a non-call in overtime. That could have been the potential winner for LeBron and the Lakers, and Lakers didn't happen. So he's blaming the officials, and again, he's saying that they are not going by the rules. They've been telling him to his face on the court, I didn't see it, because he's been questioning a lot of the calls. He's been very vocal and very open about it, and not getting fined about it, because still LeBron's the face of the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. You just said it right there. LeBron's the face of the NBA. And this dates back to our Joey Bosa point. You're in the heat of the moment. You're pissed off about the game ending, and I totally get that. But for LeBron to be saying that, the face of the NBA, not just the face of the Lakers, he's just got to ease back on that, because these refs, that's their job, and I totally get them. If they say, oh, I don't see it, it's a valid excuse, because we mentioned it with the boxing. These refs, it's the hardest job in the world. So for LeBron to be calling them out of all players, that's an issue.
Look, it is an issue, and this seemed to be the week where officials and players are going at it, and now with Twitter and the power that Twitter is in sports, it gets out even more. And I don't think the leagues can be happy about this, but LeBron does have a say.
Yeah,
he has a say in things, and I'm wondering how far this is going to go, how long this will continue, and more so, the Lakers have not been playing like the Lakers of years, so he's frustrated, like he said.
No, definitely frustrated. It's along the health with his other key players. Russell Westbrook's been playing. Anthony Davis has been out. But they're not winning games at the end of the day, and that's what LeBron James signed with the Lakers for, to win basketball games, win multiple championships. So at the age 38, he's gonna be the all-time scoring leader. So it's just a matter of weeks with that. So LeBron's got a lot to look forward to, not just if he misses the playoffs. He's gonna be one of the greatest of all time, not just NBA athletes of all time.
All right, Wiz, we close the NBA up this week. We'll do more next week. It's this time of the prime of the program. You love it. Yes or no? It's Nobody Beat the Wiz. And here we go, Avery. Put it up. Nobody Beat the Wiz segment sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. Yes or no, we asked the Wiz. Skull Fuel Energy. Drink, enjoy. Get that Skull Fuel Energy in you. Get energized. Be more alert. Drink and enjoy. Get focused. Skull Fuel Energy, and we'll get the phone number up where you can get some of that Skull Fuel Energy. 264-6091. Nobody beats the Wiz. You know how it goes. I ask the question briefly to Wiz because his answer is good sport about it all the time. Here we go, Wiz. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
I'll make you wait. There's been talk about a neutral site for the AFC Championship game, and I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they have to do it. But that was proposed. Now, Mike, yes or no? Do you think that the AFC or NFC Championship game should be at a neutral site or played on a home field advantage?
It should definitely be played at a home field advantage. It incentivizes the regular season so much more, not just the number one seed, because at the end of the day, if it's a neutral field for the home field, for the number one seed, you only get one playoff game at the end of the day. So what's the point of fighting 17 games for that? So
I agree.
Honestly,
you got to stay there. So
yeah, you got to stay. And they had to deal with a horrific event in Week 18, and they dealt with it and had to go through Atlanta, I believe, is the neutral location. So it was just an event, and next year we'll see it at the normal championship site.
Nobody beats the Wiz continues, and you know the NFL has this bogus Pro Bowl. I never liked it. There's no concept to it. It's stupid. But they have it at the end of the season or in between Super Bowl week. They have it again. And they're changing the format to flag football. You like that idea, yes or no?
I've never been a fan of the Pro Bowl. Whatever they try to add, whatever they try to subtract, I won't be watching that Sunday. That would be the first Sunday of football off in like 25 weeks, honestly, it seems like. But I'm not a fan of the Pro Bowl. I'd rather see skills challenge and stuff like that than guys not trying to tackle.
Flag football for a Pro Bowl. You want to do that?
Exactly.
Go to your local park and watch your kids play it.
Yeah. Just go outside.
Yeah. Nobody Beat the Wiz continues, and this is about the robot umpire coming to AAA baseball this season, which means it's one step closer coming to MLB. That's where they do it. They start AAA and then they go one step to MLB. You like the idea of a robot umpire behind home plate? Yes or no?
I like the idea in the minor leagues for now. You just got to test it month by month, see how it goes. Because like you said, everything gets tested in the minors first and then gets advanced to the pro level if it so happens to work. So right now in the minors, I like the idea. It's different. So fans get that different aspect. Players deal with it. Pitchers deal with it. So by the time you're in the MLB, you won't have those issues. You won't have to get used to it at that time. So I'm a fan of it right now. Let's see what happens 6 months, a year from now.
Yes or no, if I can get this headset straight. I never do. I'm not a whiz at this. Yes or no, Wiz? We continue. Nobody beats the Wiz. College basketball. We're in the conference schedule now, the height of it. ACC, Big East, Big 10, Big 12. Yes or no? The top NCAA division conference right now in college basketball. Do you agree? ACC, Big East, Big 10, Big 12, those are mine. Yes or no?
Yeah, that's a good list right there. I'd agree most heartily with everything. Big 12, Big East, ACC, those are my top three. And any time now you could see things change week by week. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. But definitely Big East, ACC, and the Big 12. Big 12 has so many juggernauts.
Yeah. Yes or no, Wiz? Here we go. Now, the Bills are New York State team. So, you know, you got the Jets and Giants that don't play in New York, though they are still New York teams. But, you know, I always said that that the Bills are the real New York football team because they play in New York State. The Jets and Giants play across the river in Jersey. You agree with me, yes or no?
I agree with you, but for the New York fans, you got to give it to them because they've been dealing with so much issues with the football teams in the last 10 years, 15 years. So, honestly, let it be. And Giants, Jet fans...
I can't let it be because they don't pay their taxes in New York. And the other thing is they play across the river, and that's not New York.
Their name everywhere you go. Any TV show, any podcast, any website, it's the New York Jets, New York Giants.
Well, why don't they just call them the NYNJ? I'd like to know what fans think of that. I'd love to finally get the fans to tell me what's your opinion about that because I totally disagree. And I still think the Bills are the legitimate New York football team playing in New York State. All right?
Perhaps in February we get a New York Super Bowl.
Well, that would be interesting. Yeah.
There we go.
That would be. Yep. Nobody beats the Wiz. We'll close it up with this. Now, the Mega Millions hit a record this week. Powerball's up there again, 450 million. Daily number. Now, yes or no, Wiz? Are you better off with a sports wager winning? Or with a Mega Millions or a Powerball or a daily number or win 4 or take 5, whatever they do? Or a sports wager, yes or no?
Sports wager, 10 out of 10. Honestly, and I'm being honest, everyone out there, I have never even bought a lottery ticket. I'm 23 years old. I've never even bought one.
Oh, come on. You mean to believe you didn't buy a Mega Millions ticket?
No, I put hundreds of dollars, hundreds of bets down on sports wagers, not one lottery ticket since I'm 21.
You're missing the fun, my friend.
FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, they would say different according to my bank account.
Well, according to your bank account, according to everyone else's bank account, it's into sports because you can't avoid those guys. They're everywhere.
Exactly. They get
They
me
walk out
every
your
week.
door. They're in front of your face.
It's terrible.
All right, well, on that note, that closes up this week's version of Nobody Beats the Wiz. That's the Wiz the Lion. Get rid of him right now. Get rid of the music right now. And remember that Nobody Beats the Wiz, sponsored on the program by Skull Fuel Energy. Get energized. All right, Wiz, we'll come back. We'll wrap it all up. We have some more college basketball things to look at. A little of everything as we do to close up this 2 hours. Sports with Ritz. Like, comment, and subscribe. Live on the SLG Network here, my channel, YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe. Back to the final part of the program on the other side after this. Stay with us.
Spending money like it's nothing. I don't have a budget. Please don't get offended when you see the kids stunting. Got my queens with me, but it ain't no Scarborough bluffing. See, I'm riding solo while dependent bitches cuffing. I got all I need, me, myself, and I just love it. I've been gone, riches stacking to the ceiling. I'm dick long. Could never change the side I've been on. In 100 years, I'ma still be with my day ones. When it's said and done, fuck where I'm going, it's all about where I came from. You don't know.
Welcome back, Sports with Rich, live on the SLG Network and my channel, YouTube, Rich Mancuso. The Wiz Robert Rizzo, our social media handle, scroll to the bottom of the screen. Like, comment, and subscribe, sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. Wiz, we're going to wrap it up. We have some odds and ends to do as we always do. And let's look at Jim Harbaugh. There's a lot of talk about where he's headed.
There were a lot of talk
Coach
about
in
where
demand. What do you think?
it just got announced, I believe, yesterday night. We got it all, a bunch of sources, ESPN, Bleacher Report, you name it, that Jim Harbaugh is returning to Michigan for 2023. He had major interest in the Denver Broncos, but he's returning to Michigan for this upcoming year. And overall at Michigan, he's 74-25. So Michigan's right there again, playoff back-to-back years. So hopefully a national championship to cap that off next year.
Don't forget, everyone, as well, at the top, it says # SWR Sports with Rich on our social media feeds as well. Now, college basketball is heating up. The conference schedules are getting into the thick of it. We have still a long ways to go. Top 25 AP comes out. Houston and Kansas on top. Purdue as well. But this was a weekend of top 25 teams losing. 11 teams out of the top 25 sustained the loss, including UConn and Marquette. This is a season of college basketball, NCAA and Division I. As you go into February, and then we hit March Madness in March. This, to me, is a toss-up, Wiz. You can't. I like the Houston Cougars. I've said that before it started, but it seems there's a lot of parity this year, and it could be anybody's in there.
It's definitely, there's a lot of parity this year. And honestly, dating back to 2 years ago with the COVID pandemic, the shortened season, and everything going on to that, you see the influx, you see the difference now. And it seems like college basketball is falling back to the reality it once was, with all that action, all the points scored. But like you said, Houston, Kansas, Purdue, Bama, UCLA topping out the 5. And honestly, the 4 sleepers for me, and there's 2 local teams that are making noise. You got Rutgers at 23. 13-5, and like you said before, UConn, they caught the loss this week, but overall they're 15th overall and 15-4 on the season. So perhaps we see UConn and Rutgers making noise in March.
I don't know why St. John's is not in there, because it's a strength of schedule yet. They're not in that. We'll see how they do in the conference, but they're having a pretty good season too. Kid Soriano used to play for Fordham, is like leading the country in double doubles. So I don't understand why they're not up there more.
The last time I checked, I believe they were the 5th or 6th in the Big East. So if they keep climbing those leaderboards in the Big East, they'll be in the AP top 25 within the next 2 weeks.
We'll see how they do in the conference schedule in the weeks to come. All right, take a look at this. I found this. I find these crazy things all the time, and I have to put them on the show. Richest pro teams right now, and if you could look at that carefully, 7 of the 10 out of the NFL. That's interesting, including the Cowboys and the Bills, the Patriots. The Yankees are in there as a top 10 richest team in pro sports. I expected that, but right now the New York Mets are not reflected on that, Wiz.
Yeah, a lot of these caught me by surprise. I wasn't that surprised about the New York Mets when you line out all the top 4 professional sports leagues and you line them up like that. I didn't think the Mets would be, but top 10, you line them up. 3 New York teams that caught me by surprise with the Yankees, Giants, and Jets. And the biggest surprise of them all, honestly, was number 6 with the Washington Commanders. Commanders? I would never 6th. And if you gave me 10 guesses, I didn't think they would be in the top 10.
I think the Mets will be in there next time they do this. And this might have been done prior to this year. I didn't get the exact, had this come out just the other day. So I want to find out. I'm going to go more into that, talk to the people who send that to me, and find out who the researcher was and get the more pertinent facts on that. But that was very interesting. That the fact that 7 of the top 10 are NFL franchises.
NFL is king.
Yeah. Draft king. Yeah. That's what you meant. All right, we have another passing already in 2 weeks in this new year. We're losing a lot. Rest in peace to the original Met, Frank Thomas. I met him once at Citi Field in the press dining room. An original Met, 1962, was a home run leader, had been ill for a time, but you know what? He got to Old Timers Day this past summer at Citi Field. I saw him, and it was great to see Frank Thomas in the ballpark. At least he got to be around some old friends and a big part of Mets franchise history. So rest in peace, Frank Thomas.
That was a great moment for Frank Thomas and the Mets in August, I believe, was Old Timers Day. And for Steve Cohen to bring that back, this is one of the moments you remember. And it sucks to say when you think it back now, but when someone passes away, you think about that big moment in front of 10,000 fans, 50,000 fans. And honestly, I'm really glad the Mets are doing that. And I hope more MLB teams do that in the future.
Well said, Wiz. And another graph I have. I come up with another graph, another figure. Take a look at this. Top pitchers in Major League Baseball. Analyze this briefly, Wiz. Spring training, 30 days away. Pitchers and catchers, believe it or not. Take a look at that impressive list. Who is the top starting pitcher in Major League Baseball right now? Do you agree with a lot of this? I'm looking, yeah.
I agree with a lot of lists, and it took me a while to jot down the top 3. I put a top 3 down and a top 3 sleepers down. So I got 6 pitchers to list, but honestly, there's so many names to go on the table. Let me start off with my top 3. I got Framber Valdez from the Houston Astros, Sandy Alcantara from Miami Marlins, and I'm going with Jacob deGrom from your newest Texas Rangers.
Boo.
Who's your top 3?
I would put Luis Castillo in there as a top 3 for sure. Can we put that up again, Avery? I want to look at that one more time. Avery, if you could flash it up one more time. I got Luis Castillo in my top 3. And let me see. I think Julio Urias, who always gets bypassed.
Yeah, it's a
even
good
for
pick.
Cy Young. I put him in the top 5.
Yeah.
I would. And you're looking at Kershaw in there. Yeah, I could see that. Max Scherzer, I could see that. Logan Webb, he's not in the top, he's not even in the top 10. Zach Wheeler, though, made it the bottom there.
Yeah.
Zach Wheeler.
That was a surprising appearance.
And Darvish is close to the bottom. I don't know. I think this come out of MLB Network. That's where I got that from, MLB. But, yeah, I definitely would have Luis Castillo on the top 3.
Yeah, I was debating between Castillo, Urias. So for my top 3 sleepers, I put Urias and Castillo for sure. And then I was debating between Zach Gallen from the Diamondbacks along with Corbin Burns from the Milwaukee Brewers for that third spot.
Interesting. With 30 days before pitchers and catchers report, Cactus League, Grapefruit League, I can't believe it, but it's coming here in 30 days. So right now, there's a little, a lot of the major moves in baseball in the offseason have been done. That doesn't mean it's not over with. There'll be trades, including locally Mets, Yankees. You're hearing a lot of news. We'll have more next week on this. There's still some names on the free agent board, not as big, lower tier, pitchers and position players. Won't get a lot of $30-40 million contracts and some potential trades in the making. But this is like now the low period as we get ready for spring training. And perhaps you won't hear anything major until spring training before the season openers at the end of March, Wiz.
I don't think we're going to hear anything significant. We might get one big-time trade throughout two franchises, but other than that, we're not going to get anything crazy. The only big free agent I could think of out there is Jurickson Profar, and I say that because he's an outfielder and an infielder, so he's not just boosting one franchise. Whatever franchise he's joining, a contender, a team rebuilding, he's going to help that team full out. And for what, 15 million, 16 million? That's a cheap deal for Jurickson Profar.
Yeah. Yeah, out of San Diego Padre territory, and he's a good one. He could be a good backup outfielder the Mets are looking for. There's been talk about that in New York for the Mets with Profar. Okay, now, NHL hockey. We're going to get Ashley Sarge on before the All-Star break, our NHL analyst, and talk more. But those Boston Bruins suffered their first home loss to Seattle Kraken. The Kraken, as they're called. They got a winning streak. First team in NHL's history to sweep a road trip in 7 games. They're fourth in the West. Seattle.
That's a tough task. You don't even do that in the playoffs when you think about it. 7 road wins.
Yep.
Oof.
Yep. 7-game road wins. Yep. They're fourth in the West. So I want to ask Ashley Sarge about them. As long as with the Devils that had that big start, fell a little bit, starting to resurge again. New York hockey is really hot, especially with the Rangers and the Devils and the Islanders.
There's so much going on, and I'm glad you mentioned the Devils are currently on a 5-game winning streak, the Rangers on a 1-game winning streak, and the Islanders just dropped 1 game. So right now they're lying the top 9 in the Eastern Conference, and with so much time to go, hopefully you see those New York fans get those top 7, that top 6 seed.
Was back to the NFL as we wrap this up, and the ratings for the season averaged this year 16.7 million TV and digital combined. 185 million at some point watched 18 weeks of NFL football. You being one of them, I know for sure.
Yes,
all right,
for sure.
And Amazon Prime, the new venture on Thursday night, disappointing, 9.58 million, which is not their expectation. They were hoping for 17 every week.
Yep.
And why did Al Michaels? Poor Al Michaels got a lot of flack and criticism, Hall of Fame broadcaster, because they said he wasn't enthused on Saturday night on NBC on a game-ending field goal with Jacksonville there in the Jacksonville. What, I thought nothing wrong of it.
People are always going to find something to complain about, especially in this age with Twitter. It takes 1 minute to tweet something that you don't like about what you just saw. Al Michaels, he's one of the best, not just in broadcast, but all in sports and what he does. So one complaint out from Al Michaels and fans from across the world, who cares? He'll be fine.
So they can complain about me. I really don't give a care. I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. Avery, come on in. Our great producer. We're going to wrap up with the fact of the week, more part of it. And Avery, do you care if people complain about you?
Do I care if people complain about me?
Yeah, if they criticize you.
Oh, no.
Because that's your personality. You're very subtle.
I don't like to be very foreposing. That's not exactly who I am.
Well, we love you, so don't worry about Wiz and I criticizing you. All right.
Well, I appreciate that.
All right. In fact, I got some followers on my social media that say Avery is too quiet.
It's got to be a balance between the three of us somewhere.
No. I hate to say
That's
this. You know
true.
what I tell him? I tell him because he's a suffering Wisconsin sports fan. That's why. Between the Brewers, the Packers, and whatever else you got over there in the Midwest, and he hates the cold weather and snow.
Yeah, that's why I got my foot warmer going right now.
There you go.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, guys, let's wrap up. You did get one part of the fact of the week. Congratulations, as far as the most expensive teams to in the NBA this season: the Warriors, Lakers, Knicks, the top three. You did come close a little bit with the average ticket price. Can you give me maybe average beer prices or hot dog prices or parking? Which one category you want for either team? Parking, beer price, or hot dog?
I'll go with no, not parking. I'll go with beer, and I'll say for the Lakers, $16, $17 a beer.
For beer for the Lakers? No.
I think you're too low on that one, Rizz.
Yeah,
I think it's probably closer to
$11.04 for the Lakers for beer. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's not bad.
Knicks
All
are
right.
expensive.
All right. So
I'm gonna guess hot dogs for the Warriors is maybe
hot
like
dogs for the Warriors.
$7.50.
Well, you're pretty close there, Avery. $8.50.
$8.50.
All right. And now you
got.
What do you want to do
Parking for the Knicks is probably like $75.
Yeah, parking.
Parking for the Knicks is $38.30.
Parking for the Vikings game is $50. What?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's $45 at Yankee Stadium for the Yankees. So the $38.30 is pretty good for the Knicks. All right, one more. You want to try one more?
One more.
What would I know? Because you guys just love this stuff, don't you?
We got one comment from a John out there. He commented, Knicks beer $15.
Nick's beer is $9.
I know. I thought it was more expensive.
I gotta start going to NBA games. Y'all got cheap beer.
Well, because you think it's New York, everything's expensive, you know.
I went to a Twins game and I got one of the tall boys, the 16 ounces. That ran me $25.
How much is parking? You guys think for parking for a Warriors game?
Let's see if the Knicks what were the Knicks again? 38.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the new arena and everything. I'm gonna go 41.
45-14.
Oh, I was gonna say 45.
Price is right. That's what this is. I'm the new Bob Barker here.
I thought of the new arena.
Uh-huh. All right. And let's try one more. You want to do one more?
Sure.
All right. What do we got to get here? Which one you want? Warriors, Lakers, or Knicks? Let's see what we got to do.
Let's go Lakers parking.
Lakers parking. Okay, that's a good one. Lakers parking. Yeah, you're going to like this one. Okay.
Is it higher or lower than Knicks?
It is much lower than the Knicks.
Lower than the Knicks.
I'm gonna go.
I'll
go $23.
I'll go 27 and a quarter.
How about 16.10?
Oh my!
Wow!
Yeah, that surprised me. Yeah.
We got a comment from John. He answered saying, "Must be a small beer."
I don't know. I'm really not a beer drinker. I'm not supposed to be a beer drinker at the ballpark or the arena. As a media guy, you're not supposed to have that stuff. So, and I haven't bought a ticket in years, so I wouldn't know. But other teams on that list, if you're interested, you can look it up: Celtics, Nets, Bulls, and the Suns. And maybe I'll continue this next week because it seems like you guys love this a lot. I gave you one more. Milwaukee Bucks. That's it. Milwaukee Bucks, and that's because average price for a ticket for the Milwaukee Bucks?
$85.
No.
I'll go $97.
You guys are way off on this. This surprised me too. $286.72.
I don't know.
That
I don't
blows
know
my
about
mind.
that.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Look, I got it right in front of me. Yeah, I didn't write that wrong. 286.72.
The average price of a game ticket to the Bucks?
The average price. Overall. That's how I meant that. Between beer, hot dogs, parking, and ticket.
All right,
that's what I meant.
That's a little.
I'm sorry, I goofed
that's...
it again. That's my handwriting. That's still expensive for Milwaukee. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, either way, guys, you did good on this one. Back to the week. Sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. Thanks a lot. Avery, great job as always. See you next week, my friend. Stay warm.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. We'll see you then. I'll
Thanks,
do my
Avery.
best.
Okay, buddy. We're sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy here on Keep It Sports with Rich, with Keep It in the Ring and everything else. Don't forget to get Skull Fuel Energy. And remember, get rejuvenated. Looking for the skull. That's the key. Look for the skull in your stores. Drink and enjoy. Skull Fuel Energy. Coffee products to come as well. Different flavors. Get energized. Be more alert. Skull Fuel Energy. Drink and enjoy. Get focused. More information about Skull Fuel Energy website will be up next week. Call 475-264-6091. We thank them for being a proud sponsor of Sports with Rich on the SLG Network and on the SLG Network platform with all their programs. Welcome aboard and thank you. And Wiz, we'll wrap up this 2 hours, a little more this week. Great show. Thanks for Ryan Aponte for coming on, giving us some cues on youngsters and getting focused and in shape. What's the name of his company again?
ARC Athletic. Wow, I'm blinking on it. ARC Athletic Resource Center, Sports New York. Yep.
Right. And we thank Ryan for coming on next week. More good things here to come. As always on Sports with Rich, we always tell you to like, comment, and subscribe on the network and Rich Mancuso on my YouTube channel. Wiz, they reach you on social media where?
You can always follow me on Twitter, RobertRizz994, Instagram, RRizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo, and catch all my daily content on Latino Sports.
And good job as writing as always. Look forward to your columns again this weck. LatinoSports.com. Liz and I are both co-editors of that site now. Your contributions and suggestions are welcome. Also, I'm at NewYorkSportsDay.com and some other websites. We have another busy few days in sports coming up. Wrap it up and do some more with you next week here on the program. As always, 8 p.m. Eastern on the SLG Network. Appreciate your continued support. Thank you for being with us. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, Avery, again, behind the scenes. And as always, stay well. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a good week, everyone. And Wiz, what do we say all the time?
As always, keep it in the ring.
Keep it in the ring. God bless everyone. See you next week. This is Sports with Rich.
Father.